Welcome to the InTalksicated podcast, a weekly comedy talk show that dives into the personal lives of comedians, experts, and creators. I'm your host, Sarah McClellan, a very amateur stand-up comedian and self-proclaimed sad girl. It's the comedy podcast with a lot of heart. Feel hard and talk hard. This is the InTalksicated podcast. Poulain?
Poulain.
Like Poulain.
Poulain.
Oh God, I'm gonna fuck this up.
That's all right. Everyone does. It's like it kind of the last half kind of rhymes with meh.
Poulain.
Yeah, perfect.
It's poo.
Yeah.
P-O-O.
Yeah, emphasize that.
Winnie. Le. L-E-H.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I wrote it down that way when I hosted one of the first times you were there.
That's how I wrote it down my first time at Foggy for Megan.
Yeah.
You should write it down how it sounds because it's hard. Let's get this show started. Let's get this party podcast
Yeah.
started, everybody. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the InTalksicated podcast. I'm here with a guest who is fairly new to comedy.
Yeah, about what, 9 months now, I think.
No, oh my God, a pregnancy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, for a whole
Exactly.
pregnancy.
Yeah.
You've been doing stand-up.
Yeah.
The very funny Josh Poulain.
Hey, perfect.
Fuck yeah. Oh, that feels good to get it right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
You are someone who is hitting the ground hard and fast.
Yeah, I've been trying anyway.
You started in February?
February, yeah.
That's wild to me because I don't know when I thought you started. I don't know if I don't know why I thought it was last year.
No, just February 20th.
Did you ever go to shows before you did it? Or did you just dive right the fuck in?
No, so I guess the first comedy show that I went to was Bob Saget at the casino in like 2011.
Oh, okay.
And then a whole lot of nothing. I've always been a big fan of comedy, but like watching a lot on, a lot of specials and stuff like that. And then in January, I found out about like the Oasis and Gus's Pub and stuff like that. And I started checking out shows. And shortly after that, dove right in.
Oh, so you did check out some shows.
Oh, yeah, I went to a few.
Do you remember who you saw?
On my first show that I went to was at Oasis. And I don't remember the full lineup, but it was John, Dan, and Kyle Barnett.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are the three that I remember.
You saw John.
Yeah.
And just so everyone knows, we have John and Mikhayla here listening in the peanut gallery. Say hello, both of you. Hi.
Hello.
They're sharing one mic. So that's so funny. So you saw John.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you thought of him?
Yeah, so I remember those three. I remember those three because those were the ones that I thought were good.
You remember the ones that you think are good?
Yeah, like
I was probably on the show.
No, you weren't. I remember the first time that I saw you also at Oasis. It wasn't the first time that I went. Oh. But no, I remember thinking John. He opens with that the car sales joke.
Yes,
and that made an impression. I was like, that's a good joke. Kyle is Kyle. He makes an impression.
Kyle's himself.
Yeah, exactly. And Dan, of course, is fantastic. He was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that's crazy. And your first set was where?
Foggy Goggle.
Was it Foggy?
It was.
And but then you did one soon after at Red Room, didn't you?
No, my next show was like a week later at District 5, the old District 5.
Yeah. How did that go?
Well,
That's a hard room, man.
About as good as you could have expected. Also considering it was my second set, so not good for that reason, and not good because of it's a tough room.
No one tells it's a. I want to make a menu for Halifax comedy with little icons beside it that determine how hard it is for a newbie.
Yeah. That's good.
As an Instagram post for like new people starting to be like, here are some good starter rooms. I would say Red Room and Foggies are the best to start on.
I would agree. I also think though it's good to get out to the more difficult rooms as soon as possible.
Do that. You got to do that too.
And just realize that you're gonna suck for a while, and it's not the end of the world. I mean, I still suck, I think.
Yeah.
It's a long progress to get good.
For me, it was set 3 that I was like, oh, this is going to be harder than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
First
that makes
set
sense.
was like nothing. Like, I don't even remember it. You just get the words out and do it. And then second set was great. Phenomenal. Still probably the best set I've ever done. I look back and I'm like, that was so fucking good. And then third set was District 5. And I didn't do as good. And I was like, oh, this is going to be challenging.
Yeah. But it's good to get that stuff out of the way as quick as possible, because I think if you do only the really warm, friendly rooms, the first time that you bomb, the longer you go without doing a difficult room or without bombing, the harder it's going to be. The harder it's going to feel, the more shitty you're going to feel about it.
And the harder the transition will be is like when you do them. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Your landing won't be as soft as a landing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it lulls you into a false sense of security.
Oh, yeah, exactly. 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's never good. I mean, listen, if you want to just do those rooms, do it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know. Yeah, if you want to get better at it, you got to do a variety of places. You got to go to small towns too. Like
Yeah.
if you have the chance, like go to the city.
Yep.
Like, oh, so we should talk with this. You and I were on a show together recently.
Yeah.
In Hammond's Plains.
Yep.
What an experience that was.
It was it was a fun room. It was challenging at first because I think they wanted the show to start earlier than the standard 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I think there's some overlap between like the there for dinner crowd and the there for comedy crowd.
Yes.
And I hosted, and so did 15 Off the Top, and it was a challenge to get them kind of reined in.
I really felt for you. I was like, this is fucking hard, because it was all like groups of people talking and eating.
Yeah, and it was definitely challenging. I did about 15 Off the Top, and by the end of that, like Kyle Carpenter went up first, and they were paying attention for him.
Yeah.
So which is
was
fine.
perfect.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. And I even told them, like, guys, feel free to talk all you want through my set, get up, use the washroom, do whatever, but when the actual comics come up, pay attention.
Yeah.
And I think they liked that, and they appreciated it, and they listened.
And that's a sign of a good host, everyone. Like that, you gotta make it about the show, not about you. And that's the sign. And that's what like sucks about hosting, but it's such a good skill to have in comedy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so good to have that skill.
It's something I really want to work at and get better at.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. A lot of people hate it. I enjoy it because
I like hosting.
It's more loose. Like you're able to kind of just have some fun with the room a little bit more. You can kind of get in and out of your material a little bit.
Yeah.
And in between sets, I try,
Some riffing.
maybe one quick laugh.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should be doing time between sets.
Yeah.
But maybe address something that's happening in the room, get a quick laugh, and bring up the next guy or girl, the next person to a good
Quick little comments or something. Some quick, how's everyone doing? You guys enjoying the show? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just some of those things. That show was fucking insane because I had the fear of God in me.
Well, it's
because there was children in the crowd, you guys.
I was just about to say it's tough doing some jokes that definitely venture into like R or beyond territory.
And you gave them one
with
warning.
like 10-year-olds. Oh, well, I gave them one warning.
And then you gave them another warning right before me, which I appreciated.
one of my first jokes was a joke about coming.
Yeah.
And I did that specifically to set the stage, to let the parents know, like, if you're not okay with this, that's fine. We won't hold a grudge against you for getting the kid out of here.
But this is what you're going to hear.
Yeah. And they stuck around for the whole show. Afterwards, they came up to me and they said they had a ball and they're excited to come back.
There's nothing that scares me more than older people, like a lot of whiteheads. When there's a lot of whiteheads in the crowd, I get a little bit nervous, but then also children. So like that show for me, it was good for me because it made me get over those nerves of doing a show in front of an audience that like I had assumed would hate me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I turned it around and did okay. So
I like older crowds.
Yeah.
I have a lot of jokes about my kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Which in a lot of comedy rooms, like in downtown Halifax, they can be really young.
Yeah.
And so that stuff can kind of fly over their heads a little bit, but older crowds, they appreciate it. They like it. They know that kids are assholes.
Yeah.
So they laugh at it.
They are assholes.
Yeah.
You are a father.
I am.
Of two?
Yep. 2 boys.
And you had kids fairly young.
18.
Holy
Yeah, very young.
shit.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was a thing, you know. It's it was a challenge.
It was a thing.
It was a thing. It was a challenge, but
Yeah.
you know, you make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you someone who always wanted to be a did you know at that point if you wanted kids for your life or?
So I've always like I have some younger siblings they're 9 years younger than me.
Oh, okay.
And we've always been really close. I've always been really good with kids. I've always enjoyed them. I've always kind of thought it would be fun, but at that point, no, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking
That's
about
so
it. I
young.
wasn't didn't want kids necessarily. Or I hadn't made up my mind yet. Anyway, I'll say that much.
That's so young. I mean, most people don't have their minds made up at that point.
No, of course not. You're 18. You should be thinking about other things.
But I still maintain that age, this is a weird thing to say, but in some ways it's good to start a family that young because you can mold your life around the family versus if you entered parenthood, like let's say you entered parenthood like when you were in college. You were like on the way to a trajectory of like a certain way. And then all of a sudden you have to change things around
Yeah, it's
for kids.
it's different. It's a little bit backwards from common convention, but I do think despite the hardships of, you know, figuring out jobs and careers and all that stuff, juggling, you know, kids are expensive, so you got to figure that out. But at the same time, you get like, I'm only 32. My youngest, he's turning 14, or my oldest, sorry, he's turning 14 next month, which means like 4 more years. And so I'll be still very young. I'll be, you know, 36.
Yeah.
When he's off to college and kind of on doing starting to do his own thing.
You can get that done.
Yeah, exactly. It's all done and over with.
And then you'll still have some of your life.
Yeah, and I'll still be young
lot of
enough to
your
be
life.
able to enjoy and do my own thing. And that's one thing that kind of led me to do comedy in a way. It's like I've always wanted to do it ever since I was really young. And the realization that, you know, the kids are old enough now. I don't need to be home every night. They're old enough that I have that flexibility now to be able to go out and
That's great.
and do my own thing a little bit more.
How old's the other one?
He just turned 10.
14 and 10. Okay, got you. Yeah, so yeah. Oh my gosh. That is wild. And so did it scare you? Like that's so young to have kids. Were you terrified?
Honestly, not really. Like, yes and no. Like I went through, when I found out, I went through a bit of a phase where I was just like, oh, well, I'm going to go party. And I got a lot of like the drinking and drugs and shit out of the way before they came. And then after that, I was just like, all right, well, I guess this is what it is. And you just kind of, you put on the dad hat and you're like, all right, well, I got to figure this shit out. And you just kind of do it.
You just adapt.
Yeah.
That's what I always hear. Like whenever I complain about being broke and like my friends with kids are like, imagine having kids. And I'm like, yeah, I know that I shouldn't complain, but it always seems that with parenthood, you just figure it out somehow.
Yeah, you really do. And I mean, I've been really
like-
lucky. Like we have a pretty positive support network around. Like my dad lives close by and he's available to help with most things. And my
that's
mom lives
wonderful.
close by. And so, yeah, we've been very fortunate like that. But you really do just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't really have a choice.
And so you've been with the baby mama this whole time.
Yeah. We've been together going on, well, no, I guess about 15 years now.
So legit high school sweethearts.
Ish, yeah. That's a little bit simplified. Like it was kind of past high school, but yeah.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, I guess 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you'd be like on your way out. At that
Yeah,
point.
exactly.
Did you change what you wanted to do for a job?
Not really. I think I just kind of doubled down on making it happen faster.
Got you.
All through high school, I wanted to learn more about software development and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then so I was just like, all right, well, this is the best way to make some
a good amount
decent
of
money and be able to support the family.
Mm-hmm.
Without even like, it's one of the few high paying career paths that you don't necessarily need post-secondary or something like that. So
You don't?
no.
What? You don't need.
Most like job interviews and stuff are like, it helps for sure, but if you can pass a technical interview or a skills test.
What?
You're in.
What?
Yeah.
I thought you needed something.
No.
Software development?
No.
That seems pretty technical.
Oh, it's very technical. But documentation.
How do you learn it?
A lot of reading.
Do companies train you?
Sometimes it's a lot of reading, a lot of just figuring shit out. I started off
tutorials?
like building website. Well, back then, when I first started learning, there was a website called HTML Goodies.
I feel like I remember that.
And that was what a lot of people used for like figuring out how to customize like MySpace layouts and shit like that.
Right.
And so I was always having fun with my MySpace layout, and I was like, this is a lot of fun. I wonder how you take it a step beyond that. And
cool, I updated a color in my header.
yeah, well, I actually, not to brag, but I had a pretty damn cool MySpace page.
Does it still exist?
No.
Fuck.
No, definitely not.
What was cool about it?
Well, like, so it was like
Did you have a moving background?
you could completely change the entire layout of the page.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So like
yeah.
it wasn't just changing colors and stuff, but you could completely change everything. So make it look like it wasn't like more like a regular website as opposed to just a MySpace page.
That would look badass.
Yeah.
And make you stand out.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just
From
fun.
other people.
And then from there I was like, well, I wonder what else I can do with this stuff. And
That's fascinating. And so, okay, I feel like we should get into the assumptions because I'm going to just start saying them otherwise.
okay.
So let's start the first segment. Oh, 20 minutes in. I'm getting good at this. I've been trying to plan them. About 20 minutes in, we start the first segment. This is the assumption segment, everyone. And we're going to learn... I'm going to tell you some assumptions about you.
Okay.
And one of them was... So one of my assumptions that I had was that you have a healthy, good work-life balance.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you have a family, so you need that family time.
Yeah.
You need also like date time with your wife.
Yeah.
You need comedy time and you need to work. So like, do you have a healthy balance of all those things?
I think so. I mean, I have like a home office that's kind of where I go during the day, and
Let's bet, John.
yeah, no, I think so.
All right, I nailed that one. I'm doing good so far. You're always on time.
No,
What?
no. I mean, I try to be. I get pretty stressed out. Like I felt really bad. Like today, I was a little bit late.
No, but we didn't set a set time.
Well, not really, but I was still later than I told you I was aiming for, and I felt bad about that.
Oh my God, don't feel bad with that.
Well, too late. I already did.
I actually, I'm going to be honest, love it when people are late.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually running late and it gives me a second to breathe.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I feel that, but
Yeah.
so like I try to be late or early. I try to be early, but I often end up late. Like if you're not early, you're late is kind of how I try to approach things.
Interesting. How early do you show up for shows? Do you try to get there?
I try to get there like 15 to 30 minutes early.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It's a good time frame.
Yeah.
I feel like you might have a lot of useless knowledge.
Oh, 100%.
Like on like random things that.
Yeah. I read a lot and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and one of my favorite podcasts is what's that one called? Stuff you should know.
Yeah.
And so I just pick up a lot of useless facts from that.
So are you good at trivia nights?
Well, I actually only recently went to my first trivia night.
Really?
And I did okay. It wasn't great, but then I accidentally stumbled into another one because I arrived to a show at Oasis too early. Oh. And Nine Locks across the street has their trivia nights on Tuesday nights.
It's so fun.
So I went over there for a beer because it's a better environment than Oasis. No offense to Oasis.
It is. Sure is.
And I stumbled in halfway through their round and I ended up winning.
What? You played just yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm always recruiting people for a trivia team that I have we're usually like 3 people, but like we're always like wanting to add people to our team. Mm-hmm. So I'll keep you in mind for the next one.
Absolutely. I'd love to join.
I love trivia. And I love that, like, everyone, when you're on a team with trivia, everyone has a different kind of role. Like, I'm the pop culture person.
Yeah. You're the Bobby Hill.
Yeah.
From that episode where he was on the,
And then, but you need that because if it's a good trivia round, there's going to be a variety of questions, you know? So that's okay. So can you give me a useless fact right now?
Oh, Jesus. On the spot. One of the earliest evidence of like of surgery that they found is to get rid of kidney stones.
Really?
Yeah. And it was very painful and had like a 75% death rate.
The early form of surgery?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember what it was? What they did?
They basically like sliced into a person's dick and tried to like remove them by hand. And then the guy died.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Did you know the initial use of chainsaws?
Kidney stones?
Something to do with childbirth and the pelvic bone.
Shit.
Yep. How horrifying is that?
That's terrifying. Jesus.
Yeah, I guess it's going around TikTok now. It's like Google why chainsaws were like if you just Google why were chainsaws invented, it'll Google will tell you.
Nothing to do with lumberjacks. That's
nothing
surprising.
to do with lumber. It has to do with they had to cut a bone in a woman for the baby to come out. I think.
That's fucked up.
That's horrifying, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't imagine like the early pap tests, what they did, or if maybe they just didn't even do them.
Not even early, just like 100 years ago. The idea of like childbirth and women's health in general, like just 100 years ago was terrifying, let alone
it's still terrifying
all throughout history. Well, but at least they have like proper tools.
Yeah.
And stuff like that now.
Well, let's not get carried away about proper tools. I have something I want to bring to Shark Tank. Because pap tests, they use these speculum things. It looks like a pair of tongs to go in there. And they're the worst fucking things ever. And they're never comfortable. I don't know any woman who's like, that was fine.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. And Mikhayla, let me know if this makes sense to you.
Okay.
A dildo with a hole in it that you put the thingy through to swab the cervix. I would rather that.
I don't think that makes sense because they also look in there for like.
It could be a really big hole.
But like the walls of like.
Oh, that's fair. What if it was glass?
I guess so. I guess that would work.
I feel like that would be more comfortable.
Well, a dildo, I bet, would be more comfortable than a. I don't think it's comfort that you're talking about here.
Well, that's the whole other thing. I think this could become very minimal in terms of what the doctor would do because you could just put it in yourself. Am I insane?
That's not a doctor's appointment.
Am
That's
I
just
insane?
That's just masturbating.
No, I know. Fucking Nikki Glaser was talking about this. She's like, every gynecological exam is like one motion away from being sexual. And it's so true. Because like if someone's like up in there with their fingers, it's like, all it is one movement and then it's sexual. It's one little movement of the finger and it's all of a sudden porn.
And you give them a dildo and it's porn right away, right off the bat. No special movement necessary.
Speculum, man, is the worst fucking thing. And
I didn't find it. I've only had it to use it once, but I don't think it was like awful. It wasn't painful.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
found it
what
painful.
else are you gonna use to check up in there? I don't know.
A clear dildo.
Okay.
All right. Fair
Would
enough.
you have to like take pictures or something? You'd have to have like a mirror or like some way to view everything, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
you're
true.
cutting the doctor out.
There could be a camera in there too.
It could be like a microscope where he looks in one end.
Yeah.
You know?
I still think there must be another way to make this more comfortable. I have a tilted cervix. That's why it's uncomfortable for me. They have to like move it in different. Sorry, I hate it. I despise it. I haven't been in a while. Thank God. I'm just going to keep not having sex so I don't have to go back.
Sweet.
I wrote, you plan really good date nights.
I mean, my wife's the one to ask there, but no, they're pretty basic. Like,
Oh.
yeah, no,
They're pretty.
I don't think so. It's like, dinner.
Lots of dinners. What's like the cool? You haven't done anything like unique, or like out of the ordinary? You should
Yeah. All
do an
right.
escape room sometime or something, or
Yeah, no,
go karting.
Okay. Yeah, so we don't really do that, but because we do that stuff with the kids. Like we take them go-karting, we take them to escape rooms, and we do that as kind of family stuff.
Go to a. Okay, never mind. Sorry, my brain went somewhere.
Did
Keep
we
going.
go to the Propeller arcade recently?
Not recently, but we have been there, yeah.
That's a fun place.
Yeah, for sure. I get to drink beer, kids get to play pinball. Pinball is great.
It's nostalgic.
Yeah.
It's nostalgic. I guess you're right. Like, what would the adult version of go-karting?
Yeah, and like it's different. Like if we didn't have kids, then yeah, that's fun. But we do that stuff with the kids, and so a date night is like adult time where we don't do that.
That's such a good
fun
point.
stuff, right?
That's such a good. Have you ever done like a staycation, like a night at a hotel downtown?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We do that.
Yeah.
We rent cottages every now and then.
That's the shit. That's where it is right there.
yeah.
That's the ultimate date night.
Yeah,
You guys did Segura as a date night.
we
Oh,
did
that's
do Tom
fun.
Segura as a date night.
I was gonna ask her if you brought her to comedy or like local comedy.
Yeah, she goes. She comes out to shows every now and then.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen her at one. Yeah.
I really want to get her to do a set at Red Room.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, she's going to hate me for saying this on a podcast, but she does really good impressions of several comedians around town. She's seen them enough. And I'm not going to get into too much detail because she doesn't want me to, but that's why she should do a set at Dart. Or I keep telling her, like, you know what, on a show when all of these people are on at Foggy, go in for a hat spot or something, and then just do
You gotta
impressions
give
of
one name away. You can't say that and not or you could allude. Can you
well,
allude?
yeah, well, no, like she does a good Kyle Burnett.
Okay.
And a Dan. That one's kind of easy.
I feel like everyone could do a good
Yeah,
Dan impression
exactly.
at this point.
Exactly. So yeah, she does those two.
All right. Next joke.
Yeah.
That's fucking hilarious. I would love to see that. Okay, I got a lot, Josh, actually. I'm shocked at how many I have. And then we're going to get to the ones that Mikhayla and John thought of too. I wrote, you seem shy, but you actually aren't.
Yeah, I think that one checks out. Like,
Because you're quiet.
I can be quiet, and then when like first for sure, and then want to get to know you. You know, we can get the ball rolling a little bit.
You don't want to shy away from being talked to.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, that's fair.
You know, but like you're not someone who comes off as an extrovert.
No, I don't think so. I think I straddle the line pretty balanced.
Yeah.
A little bit of both. Like I can turn it on when I have to, but then I need to go home and sleep for a while.
Yeah, that's me too.
Yeah.
On that same plane, I feel like you have a lot of opinions, but you're very good at keeping them to yourself.
Yeah.
Like I can't see you as someone who's in the comment section starting shit online.
No, not really. No, especially not on Facebook where my name's attached to it.
Right.
Reddit is anonymous. I'll tee off on Reddit a little bit.
Oh, you'll tee off on Reddit.
A little bit.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's like another side of you that's more anonymous. So you're like, okay, what kind of subreddits are you on?
The Halifax one.
What a cesspool that place is.
It really is.
Oh my God.
Might be my least favorite subreddit.
It's so bad.
The Canada politics one I like because it's for the most part really really healthy. Just general conversation. And then also just the Canada one because it's a far right cesspool. And so that's the one that I go to be like, you're an idiot and here's why.
This makes so much sense now because you're so even keeled for the most part that like you must put that energy somewhere.
Oh yeah, all on Reddit.
And it's on Reddit.
It's on Reddit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I've uncovered so much already. You look like you've been accused of mansplaining a lot.
Only from Mikhayla, to be honest with you. She loves that word. And she's the only person who's ever said that to me.
But that's why I feel like I and the assumption isn't that you mansplain, but I would assume that people accuse you of it.
Yeah, so
But you really don't mansplain.
I mean, I try not to. Sometimes I feel like I will say something that comes out wrong, and I might try to like more explain where I'm coming from and like try to kind of, but then that can come off maybe a little bit mansplaining.
Interesting.
When, I'm not going to tell a female doctor like how vaccines work or something.
Right. Right. No. Okay. Okay. Mikhayla, do you have any thoughts on that?
I tell him he does mansplain, but just because it bothers him.
Yeah. Mikhayla is my real life troll.
What's this relationship? What happened here?
Oh, nothing. She just trolls me for fun.
Yeah, it's really easy and really fun.
That's hilarious. Let me see. Did I get through all of them? Oh, I just wrote, you seem mentally stable.
I mean, yeah, I think so. For the most part, like, yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. It can happen.
Yeah. A comedian without mental health issues. Wow.
Listen, challenge early on in life is a great job, great comedian, I'm going to say great new comedian, just because you are still new.
Oh, yeah. I'm still figuring it out.
If you're under a year,
yeah, and
you're still new.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I think. What do you guys think on that? Under a year, still new?
Yeah, even like I just passed a year. I still feel like I'm really new and figuring it out.
I feel like you're still new if you're under 5 years, I think. But when you're over that year point, that's when like I think you can say that you're a comedian.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like the divide between old and new comics has changed a lot over the last few years. So like
It has.
I feel like I would say new is like under a year at this point.
Yeah, under a year.
I would say new has more to do with like how you've progressed,
Yes, that's very true too.
Like,
'Cause
there's people that have been doing it for multiple years that I would still say have a lot of new comic tendencies.
Yes. I'm right here. Rude.
Sorry. I thought I had covered my tracks a little bit better. But no, I think it's more about it's just more about things like stage presence and like bad habits and stuff like that.
Yes.
And time is definitely a factor in that as well. But I don't think it's really, you can't really put a time frame on it where you say after a year, you're not a new comic anymore.
I totally agree. Not all new comics are created equal. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
And I think it's also to do with like a variety of different things you experience, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
if you are,
that plays a factor.
If you're someone, number one, if you do a lot of sets consistently, if you've produced shows, if you've hosted shows, if you've done shows at a variety of different places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the only way to not feel or seem new, I guess, is to go through a bunch of different things and then learn and grow from them.
Truth.
So if you're only, not learning a lot or not doing a whole lot of things outside your comfort zone, then yeah, you can be new at any time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And all about the self-reflection, like after a set, if you feel like you've killed it every time, you're probably going to be a new comic for many years.
Oh, yeah. Ding that bell. That's a bell ring.
Yeah.
That's a great point. All right. Now we're going to get to John and Mikhayla's assumptions.
All right.
And I have to say that this was so fucking funny because I made a group chat with them. And I wrote, I wrote assumptions about John. Hit me. John wrote, my first assumption is that you met Josh.
That's a solid assumption. That's
died because I'm like, your names are so fucking similar. They're only like, what, 2 letters off?
Yeah.
1 letter off. So John said that he thinks you dive into things and you want to be very good at them.
No, 100%. And that's something I'm probably going to circle back to in the What's Wrong With You segment. But that's 100% accurate.
I love that.
Yeah.
John, what made you come up with that? It was just an observation that you had?
Observation, and he also reminds me of my childhood best friend, whose name was like Mike Fitz. And Fitz had to be like good at a lot of things. And I was like, just chill out, buddy. Like,
yeah.
But it's also like attention to detail and stuff like that. So
very good attention to detail. It's a good thing to have. John said that he thinks that you probably looked up best practices for some mundane thing like tying your shoes.
Oh. That's a good one. Fuck. Absolutely. I do that all the time with
Best
ridiculous
practices?
shit.
Like what?
Well, like tying your shoe, tying a tie.
Okay.
Not so much tying your shoe, but lacing your shoes. And the best practice is, semantics or whatever. Just like
Yes.
looking at different methods for doing it and then seeing which one works for me. Like ridiculous shit like lacing your shoes.
Number one, fuck laces. I hate them. I hate laces.
Yeah, fair enough.
Shoes shouldn't have laces.
Hot take.
Yeah. But like, I think one might assume a dad might know a lot of these things, and it's nice to bust the myth that they don't always.
Well, yeah, and I think dads prior to YouTube would just know this shit, but
Yeah.
now we don't have to know it because it's just a quick YouTube search away.
It really, really.
So you don't have to commit that stuff to memory.
really.
You know, like I don't know how to throw a ball. Why do I have to throw a ball? I can just show my kids a video of somebody throwing a ball on YouTube and say that's how you do it.
It's shocking how many just like cooking and cleaning. So woman of me to say, cooking and cleaning things that I've Googled. How long? I could rant forever about potatoes and how long it takes to cook a fucking potato. I never know. I
Yeah.
never get it right.
Yeah.
I never get it right. Never ever.
Well, that's actually so not to blow open the ceasefire that I have with John on this long-standing debate. But that is another thing that I've YouTubed and Googled multiple times is like hard-boiled eggs.
Yes. How do you make a good
How to make a good hard-boiled egg.
Yeah.
There's different things like you can put vinegar in the water or salt or like an ice bath.
ice baths I've seen.
Yeah. And like, do you roll it afterwards to peel it better or what?
Save it for your guys' podcast, okay? Save that energy. Save that energy for the potential podcast that's going to come out of you and John's
John
food
and
debates.
I have very strong opinions about inane food topics.
I love it. It's the stuff that matters, really.
Yeah.
John also assumes that you fuck with your kids and you tell them shit just to amuse yourself.
100%. The kids have no idea about some like pretty fucked up shit. So like I've told this joke on stage a few times about how I would lie to them and tell them that like I'm an Orthodox Jew, and that's a real thing. I've been telling them that. I've told them that for years.
Why?
I have no idea. I think it was when it started when my oldest was just a baby, and and
Starting young. Start the gaslighting young.
We were talking about like my wife and I were talking about religion, and I was just kind of threw it out there.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stuck around. And so I've told the kids that. Another thing that I've also like they know that is not true. But another thing that I've told them and that I've kept this one going is that I'm a Russian spy, which is like a typical like dad joke sort of a thing. But I am so committed to this goddamn bit that for a long time, they're getting old enough now where they're starting to be like, no, that's ridiculous. But from like the years like 4 through 8 or 9, they had no idea like what if I was telling the truth or not. They were like, where were you born? I said Moscow. And they're like, well, why do you have a Canadian passport? I said, well, because because you know, like you don't think the Russian government can give me a fake passport? And like
how could you get away with this with like your parents and shit? Like would they question your parents too?
oh yeah, they just go along with it.
This is gonna cause damage.
Yeah. So one time my
Trust
youngest
issues.
was in school and they were talking about like backgrounds, like cultural backgrounds. And my youngest came home from school one day and he was like, oh, I told my teacher that we were Russian. And I was just like, all right. I didn't correct him.
Oh my God.
I was more thinking like the meme, like I'm going to tell my kid this celebrity was that celebrity or something.
Yeah.
No.
It's kind of like that, but in real life. And it's pretty funny.
You've gone deeper than you've gone deep with your
Yeah, no, 100%. And they, I mean, they know, especially like my old, he's 14 now or will be next month. So he's old enough now where he knows, but he's started kind of trying to help me gaslight the youngest. So it's like a whole family thing. It's like a tradition. It's great.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's so much fun.
my parents told me that my cats got taken up in a spaceship when they went missing for both my cats went missing. My childhood cats went missing for 13 days.
Okay.
And they were like, they just went up.
Adopted.
They just went up in a spaceship and they came back.
Wow.
And I believed them.
Yeah. So that's hilarious. It's kind of like that, but on a much bigger scale, like a much longer scale.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
You've never let anything slip with that lie?
Oh no.
How the fuck? That's what I'm
like. It's even like we went camping over the summer with some of their cousins that are about their age, and they were like, "Oh yeah, my dad's a Russian spy," and the cousins were like, "No, he's not," and they were like, "Well, they were like recruited him to try to help bust this whole thing open." And so then this other like 10-year-old cousin was coming over and like trying to be like, "You're not a Russian spy." And I was like, "Yes, I am." He's like, "Say something in Russian." And I was like, "Niet." And then he went away. And he was like, "All right, he said something in Russian. This might be true."
What the fuck?
Yeah.
But a Russian spy wouldn't say that they're a Russian spy.
Oh, they've tried to get me on that too. And I said, "Well, it's been so long now. I think I'm out of
You don't do it anymore.
No, exactly.
You used to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But even still.
Yeah.
What the I'm shocked. I am shocked at the extent of those lies.
Oh yeah, no, it's been going on for a long, long time, like years.
Does your 14-year-old listen to podcasts?
Sometimes.
Does he know you're on one?
Yes.
Is that weird?
Oh yeah.
Like I thought it was strange, like when guests come on and like they're single and they're on Tinder and like it's very obvious that Tinder matches will probably find your guys' episodes.
So
but
it was
kids is another thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when
You're
I was
busting it right now. We can't air that part.
No, we can air it. We can air it. They won't find it. I'll tell him that he's not allowed to listen to it because of that dildo conversation.
I can put you under like a different name.
Yeah, there you go. Like give me a Russian name.
Jesus Christ. This is insane.
Yeah. So no, anyway, back to John's assumption. I totally fuck with my kids just for the fun of it, and I take it pretty far. But those are some pretty intense ones. But there's also been some just fun, lighthearted ones, like when during potty training. Like back to your example of like your parents telling you about the spaceship. I told the kids that there were poop monsters that lived in the toilet and they eat poop and you got to go feed them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know where this was going.
I'm not going to scare them away from the toilet. Jeez,
right.
No, I'm trying to encourage them. It's like they're friendly monsters, like the Sesame Street folks, and you got to go feed them.
You gotta go feed them. That's kind of cute.
It worked.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah, it was adorable and it worked.
I legitimately thought something would grab me on the toilet.
Yeah, so this probably wouldn't have worked for you because it would have scared you out.
It would have, because I would have gone, what do you mean they live in there?
Yeah.
Like, can I ask, and we don't have to put this in if there's worry that your kids would hear, but where do you fall on the Santa Claus? Telling them if Santa's real or not.
So like, again, he's 14, my oldest. So he knows, but we don't,
I would hope
we don't really address it.
Okay.
Generally we'll give them the basics from Santa Claus, and then any good cool things come from us because we don't.
You want the credit.
We want the credit. Exactly. Like that's ridiculous. Giving this fucking jolly fat guy in the North Pole credit for like the PS4. Fuck you.
It was never talked about though.
No, it's never really been directly addressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, we're all in on the gas.
You're not one of the types that oh look, I got a message from Domino's. Domino's knows that we're together. Oh, yeah. That's hilarious. You're not one of these people who like there's some parents out there now that are just like straight up not even doing the Santa thing. They're like right from day one. There's no imaginary man bringing you gifts.
I think that's there's a lot of fun to it. It's like the whole magic of Christmas is fun. It's a fun tradition.
Oh, so so based on what I know of you now, do you do the whole like set cookies out and then bite into the you do all that?
Oh yeah, we do the cookies, we do carrots for the reindeer.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
The pets get a stocking that gets filled with pet treats, and yeah.
You got what pets do you have?
So we have a dog, and up until a few months ago we had a cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was a shock and a bummer to lose the cat.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about more dead cats.
No, I know it sucks because your last episode also featured heavily on the dead cat thing.
Science.
So like we can skip right past this.
Let's skip right past it. Okay, Mikhayla's assumptions. She assumes that your kids, I don't know, are the annoying know-it-all kids at school.
So see, this is what I mean.
You might not know.
This is what I mean when I say that she is my real life troll. Because that was kind of rude, you know? But no, I don't think so.
I feel like they just like correct the teacher sometime.
No, that was me for sure. That was me.
Yeah, so maybe
yeah.
it trickles down though.
I don't think so. My oldest is too timid. He has a very like calm, collected demeanor. He'll come home and like bitch and complain about the teachers, but I don't think he really corrects them. And my youngest is he's a lot more outgoing, but a lot more. He kind of goes along to get along.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. So you were the know-it-all in school now.
Oh yeah, big time.
Were you what kind of archetype did you fall into? Were you a jock, geek, popular kid, preppy, suck up, teacher suck up?
None of them really. Like
No?
not really. I don't know.
You were just there?
I was just there. I kind of floated between groups a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a bit of a floater.
Yeah. I could see you being like the nice guy that everyone enjoys. That's also
Yeah,
very smart.
To an
Also very
extent, I
smart.
think. To an extent, like I said, yeah, I just kind of floated between groups. When I was in junior high, I started going to like punk shows and stuff like that, and getting more into the music scene.
Oh, some punk in
yeah.
your blood. I like that.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like that. Another couple from John. John assumes that you could bake a really good pie.
Yeah, I bake a fantastic pie.
Which one?
Cherry, pecan,
Fuck yeah.
blueberry. It was one of my favorites. My dad actually used to own a pretty popular bakery called Simon the Pieman.
Oh.
And
fuck yeah.
I have learned nothing about pie making from him. I just Google really good recipes.
Back to the Googling thing.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned blueberry because I got into a heated discussion about blueberry pies and how I don't like blueberry pies and how I only like blueberries in smoothies and like on their own. Like I'll eat them on their own. And I'll eat them in smoothies or like with yogurt. But I do not enjoy a blueberry pie.
No, the
Bottom of my list. Bottom of my list for pies. Top is, I mean, I would put cherry at the top.
Yeah, cherry is fantastic.
Cherry's the best pie, I think.
Cherry is fantastic. I think apple might be at the bottom of my pie.
Oh,
bottom of
that's
my
unpopular.
List. It's just overdone, you know? I don't like it.
It's the golden retriever of pies.
Yeah, it's just like, it's boring. Give me a better pie than that.
Pecan pie is underappreciated. I made
Pecan
one
pie is
recently.
fantastic.
I recently made it
Nice.
by myself for Thanksgiving at my friend's place, and
How did it turn out?
I was so proud. It's turned out pretty good.
Nice.
I think next time will be a bit better because I'll do a homemade crust. I
Yeah,
just did
that's the key.
store-bought. That's the key. I think.
That's the key. You got to do a good homemade crust.
Gotta fucking do it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then John also. This is the last one. I assume he regrets at least one of his tattoos. And Mikhayla said that you should regret all of them.
So the theme of today's episode is Mikhayla is a troll. 100%. It keeps coming back to that.
You literally told me the story of one that you do regret, which you might or may not want to tell, which is pretty dumb.
Is it a
so
girlfriend's
dumb.
ex-girlfriend's name?
So dumb. No, it's dumber than that. It is a girl's name, but not one that I ever dated or was romantically involved with in any way.
Is it a celebrity crush's name?
No, it was just a friend who dared me to do it.
I love that. No, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I did it, and we haven't spoken really since high school. But we were pretty good friends for a while, and she was just like, I dare you to do this. And I had a friend with a tattoo gun, so he did it.
Do you regret that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's pretty stupid. But it's also, it's like it's on my leg, so it's not even like,
Right.
it's not one of my more visible ones. It's
But also, what a nice. I feel like people shouldn't regret tattoos because they're just stories that you could tell.
yeah, I guess, yeah.
They're conversation starters, you know?
Yeah.
Can I dare you to make me a pie?
I mean, you can ask.
It was just the whole assumption was just a passive, very passive way to
That's
suss out the
hilarious.
situation.
Can I
You're
dare
good
you
at
to make a comedy app for iPhone? That
It's a work in progress.
work in progress.
That one is a work in progress. John, what kind of pie do you want?
Oh, John,
cherry, I guess.
Cherry. I'll make
Well-
you one hell of a cherry pie.
Yeah, there we
stay
go.
on that mic and tell us what your favorite pie is.
Oh, that's a good one. I also feel apples like kind of overdone and
Yeah.
bland.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
That's why we're friends.
I like a cherry pie. Pecan pie is underrated.
Mm-hmm.
There's also different.
I like a good pumpkin pie.
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
I see. I'm not a pumpkin
That
pie
divides
fan.
the room. That divides the
yeah.
room real quick.
It does.
I'm not a pumpkin
And
pie guy.
but then you go into like I love lemon meringue pie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so good.
So good,
Yeah.
right?
That's like the only pie my dad would eat growing up. The only time he would ever eat dessert was lemon
Lemon
meringue.
meringue or
Lemon-
like banana cream.
coconut cream. Oh, I
That's
like
too- I
coconut
like-
cream.
Coconut cream is good.
I
I
like
love
coconut, but a coconut cream pie is too much coconut. But I like all the like key lime pie, like all those kind of creamier meringue pies.
Yes.
Are good. Yeah.
And let's not forget the best pie of them all, just the basic cream pie. Did a little look at the camera there,
Nice.
directly in the eyes of the listeners. Those were the assumptions. We're done.
Fantastic. Good assumptions.
That was like
Yeah.
so many assumptions.
That was a lot.
That might have been the most that I've had on this show.
That was more than I was expecting. But you guys did all right, except for Mikhayla.
That's hilarious. Okay, we're fired up now, so we're gonna do segment 2, which is the rant.
All right, yeah. So I've been thinking about this lately. I think A-list celebrities and comedians should stop putting out specials.
I need to add a
Like, yeah, a studio audience. Yeah, for sure.
shots fired. Bam,
Yeah.
bam, 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 bam.
No, like
A-list.
the A-listers, like we get it. Dave Chappelle doesn't understand trans people. We get it. Bill Burr is sick of cancel culture. So is Dave Chappelle. So is Ricky Gervais. So is all of the A-listers. Nick Kroll put out a special a month or two ago that was boring as hell.
Is he A-list?
I mean, he's
A-list?
so A-list in
tough.
terms of comedians. Like he's a
up there.
household name if you follow comedy. If you like, you
Yeah.
know, Big Mouth. I think definitely put him up there.
Yeah.
But I think it just, and you compare all of those specials that have come out over the last couple of years from those really big names, you know, like David Spade and all of them,
Yeah.
to the ones that are coming out from the up and comers, like over the last couple of years has been like Shane Gillis is live in Austin, Sam Morrill's new special, Shang Wang special, like all of them, Mark Norman special, like they're all just blowing them out of the water.
Right.
And I think we need to devote more resources to them.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is very fair. That is very fair. But at the same time, what are those A-listers going to do?
Tour.
Yeah, I guess they could Segura it.
Yeah, just tour and like make your money that way. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it's boring. I think Bill Burr's last 2 specials have been very boring.
Yeah.
Talking about the same old shit. Same with Chappelle's last number of specials have been the same stuff. And like there's funny moments in them for sure, but they're not,
Right.
they're just not killing it the way that they used to and the way that a lot of the up and comers have been.
And the like independently produced ones, I feel they're better.
A lot of them, absolutely.
They're better because they're more tailored to that comic.
100%. Like, who special came out last week? Ari Shaffir's
Yeah.
special.
I haven't seen it yet. I really do want to watch it though.
So
Yeah.
good.
Is it?
Oh,
I hear
it was
great
so
things.
good. So I've actually, and this is going to be, this is going to be weird to admit, but I've started tallying laughs in comedy specials.
Oh, no, I love this. I love this. You have?
Yeah. So like I've done it for the last 3 that I've watched, and I plan on doing it for every everyone that I watch moving forward.
But is it types of laughs? Because you got like
So-
medium, light.
So
big.
I don't care about ripples. I like any big like full audience laugh. I'll count.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and then I'll also count applause to help kind of break it down of whether or not it's more of an agreement applause or an enthusiastic that was funny applause and that sort of thing.
The best applauses come after laughs, everybody.
Yeah, 100%. Like if a special has too many applauses because you're like making political statements, then you're not really at a comedy show. You're at a rally,
Yeah,
and that's a different thing.
that's very fair. What are you finding based on your research so far?
So I've only done 3. Like I said, I did Daniel Sloss's Jigsaw, which was very funny, and had about 220 laughs in 60 minutes. And then I did Ari Shafir's Jew, which had 419 laughs in 90 minutes. It was just nonstop.
Holy
killing.
shit.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the math in my head. I'm like, okay, so it's definitely multiple laughs in a minute.
Oh yeah, it was
fucking wild.
And that's another thing I do as I break it down. It's Ari Shafir had 4.7 laughs per minute, and then I did Neil Brennan's Blocks. His new special just came out the other day, which wasn't as good as 3 Mics, and it had under 200. in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, does that matter?
The
do you
laughs
think?
per minute? I don't think so. It's like not necessarily. I think like Daniel Sloss would have had more laughs, but for about probably 15 minutes in the second half of the show, he kind of took a bit of a left turn and started talking about something like some more real shit.
And that happens.
Yeah,
sometimes.
and that's totally fine. That's valid. I'm mainly looking at it. I mainly do it because it forces me to really pay attention to the special a lot more. Like I'm not on my phone or talking to anybody or eating or whatever.
Well, you're also studying it like a student of comedy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big part of why I'm doing it as well, is to really understand like, okay, here are the people that are killing it so hard that they're getting specials. They're fantastic. And here's how many laughs per minute they're getting.
The feminism is about to leave my body. She's just gonna walk out the door here, but you should do women too. I'd be curious.
No, 100%.
I would be curious as to those stats.
So yeah, no, 100%. And
Please share the spreadsheet with me. I'm geeking out over this. That's fucking wild. Because I've been tracking female representation on shows. Spreadsheet.
yeah,
In the same way that you are. That's what I do.
yeah, no, it's really cool taking that
Data.
kind of analytical data,
Yes.
like that analytical approach to it. Yeah, it's really neat.
Because the laughs per minute thing is fascinating to me because like I when you think of 4 laughs in a minute, Jesus Christ.
Almost 5, 4.7 laughs per minute.
That's a lot. And
Yeah.
like when I think of someone like Eliza Schlesinger, who I've seen live and like I've watched her specials, her bits can draw out so long without laughs
Yeah,
that it's almost not comedy.
yeah.
Did I just say that? I kind of just said that.
No, that's fair. Like
I love her. I really
haven't-
do, and I look up to her. But
I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
She just had a new special come out, didn't she? Like
yeah,
recently.
I
haven't watched it yet.
they're
but-
very long
Yeah.
observational bits.
Okay.
But that said, that does not diminish her as a performer. As a performer, she's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a lot of talking to get to that laugh.
Yeah.
Which
And is the laugh worth it? Is it big
is
enough?
the laugh worth it?
Yeah.
And which really makes her, she probably has to work really fucking hard to make sure it is worth it.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other talent. But
sure.
then it becomes, what kind of comedian do you want to be? Like, I kind of want to be the 4 laughs in a minute person.
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
No,
Like-
and that's the thing. Like there's something different between like her and say Mike Birbiglia,
Yes.
who also does really long jokes, really long stories. But there's no like everything that he says is a laugh. Everything that he says is a joke, even if it's all building to one long 30-minute story. There's nothing in there, or almost nothing in there, that isn't really a joke.
Yeah. Yep. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So everyone should watch more independently produced stuff. a lot of comics are doing stuff on YouTube, which is phenomenal. I recommend Our Special Day, Corinne Fisher and Christina Hutchinson from Guys We Fuck podcast. They did a special together. It's like a co-special. Like, so it's like one doesn't, was it 40 minutes? I don't know how they did the timing, but it was like split between the two of them. And they did it themselves too.
Nice.
So they fully produced this themselves. And I think it's just better. You have way more control over what you're putting out. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And like, there's no studio execs telling you, no, you can't joke about this or that or whatever, or just challenging the format of it. The format is exactly what the comic wants it to be.
Exactly, right? Yeah. Okay. That's a good rant.
Yeah.
That's a good rant. Let's shift it back into personal town and find out what's wrong with you. The face.
Yeah.
The face was great. It was like, I don't want to say what I'm about to say.
Well, so I guess a couple of things. Going back to one of John's assumptions about diving in is I get really, really into stuff, like to the point where I'm tallying laughs in a comedy show, stuff like that. Like, just I get really obsessive about it. Which is good and bad.
Yes.
When it's harnessed properly, it's good, but sometimes it can kind of run away from me. Like, I also take that same obsession to like watch shows that I'm watching, where if I find a new show that I'm really into, who needs sleep at that point? I'll stay up.
Oh,
most of
it's
the
like
night.
a hyperfixation, hyperfocus.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
an extreme degree.
Yeah. And like, hyper focus for sure. And like, before I started doing stand up, I built an app, because the main app that a lot of comics use to track shows and jokes and set lists and stuff like that didn't really work on my phone.
Right.
So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to need this. So I spent
that's
a couple of weeks building an app for it. And that's what I've been using ever since. But it took time away from work. It took time away from family. And that was before I ever even did. I wasn't sure if it was something that I wanted to do more than just the once.
Stand up.
Yeah, that was like a part of me preparing to do it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So do you think that's a bit OCD-ish?
I mean,
maybe not that extreme.
Not that extreme, but it's definitely like a bit of a tendency towards it. Yeah.
Fascinating. And what was I fucking gonna? Are you a perfectionist too?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, not really. I try really hard to not let perfect be the enemy of good. So like like the app I've been updating it regularly, because as I use it and realize that it's missing this or that or the other thing, I'll add it or change it or redesign it or whatever. But that didn't stop me from using it up until that point. Like, I'm not going to hyper fixate on it to that point where I'm making sure it's perfect before I ever use it or release it or anything like that.
Yeah. I think this is mostly a good trait, to be honest.
Yeah. No, but it's like I said, it is when it comes to being productive. But then there's also the other side of it where
it takes time away from other things.
Well, like I recently started rewatching the Breaking Bad universe. So because Better Call Saul ended, I went back and I rewatched from season 1 to 6 of Better Call Saul, and then season 1 to 5 of Breaking Bad. I've seen both of those shows multiple times, but that didn't stop me from like not putting that ahead of like sleep. Like, it doesn't really take away time from family and stuff. But once they're in bed, I'll stay up for a few hours and
Got ya.
Yeah. And so like that side of it is definitely.
It's not the most healthy for you self-care wise, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah.
I've gotten carried away with things. Well, I think what this is, it's very much so an ADHD. I mean, I don't know if you have ADHD, but it is an ADHD trait to hyperfocus on the things that make us feel good or give us the serotonin. And that's why a lot of creative people have ADHD, but they don't clean their house or something because that's not as fun, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So they'll hyperfixate on like a video game.
Yeah, so I do that as well on video games. I just bought the new God of War game that I'm itching to get back to now. But also like, no, I don't have ADD or ADHD. And I know that as a fact because I was in a summer camp when I was in grade 5. That was put on by the St. Mary's psych department to study.
What a fun summer camp.
Yeah, it was honestly a lot of fun.
I would fucking love that.
It was a lot of
Sign
fun.
me up.
They put ADD kids and ADHD kids with non-ADD and ADHD kids.
Oh, wow.
And kind of studied their interaction and stuff like that. And a part of it was everyone that went to the camp also had to go get an MRI done to study the brains and stuff like that. So I can definitively say that, no, I don't have it.
And you went in as a non-ADHD?
Yeah.
What was the point of this study? Just to see tendencies?
Tendencies
Social
and
things?
So how they interact, how one group will interact with the other group and stuff like that. Yeah. And one of the main feedbacks was that I hung out with a lot of the ADHD kids that were getting into a lot of trouble, but was never in trouble myself. Like I was never, so like I'd hang out with them and then they'd start going off the rails and I'd just kind of take a step back and let them do their thing and then come back and hang out when they were kind of calm again.
That's, whoa. How old were you?
10-ish.
That's wild.
Yeah. I think it was the summer, like going into grade 6.
And you were part of the study. That's so crazy. They looked at your brain and went, it's not fucked up.
Pretty much. Yeah. It was also a great way for my parents to put me in a summer camp that they didn't have to pay for. So that was
that's a great,
yeah.
you should make a bet out of that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, because it was all free. It was
all
covered by
free?
St. Mary's and it got me out of the house all summer long.
My God.
Yeah.
So no ADHD, but you hyperfixate on things you enjoy. Just like what John said. You dive into things and you want to learn a lot about them and do them well.
Yeah,
kind of
100%. Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Man, it can be a curse though, being someone who's like that. Like I find with this upcoming live show, I'm going to be psychotic.
Yeah.
For that same reason.
Yeah.
I'm pretty psychotic with the shows I produce in terms of like I'll be bugging people every day for a ticket. Like how many tickets have we sold every day? And how can I perfect the schedule more?
Yeah.
And promo, I gotta get promo out all the time. Like it's kind of the same thing with me.
Yeah.
It's like to a bad degree, but also too with the show thing. It's interesting you said that. Because when I get into a show, I really get into a show. It doesn't, it takes a lot for me to get into a show, but Mr. Robot was one of the shows that I would watch and then I would go down the rabbit hole on Reddit.
Yeah.
For hours
me too.
afterwards.
And I like
get
that
obsessed.
show a lot. Like as a software guy myself, like I really related to Elliot a lot. Well, to a certain point.
Yeah.
And no, that's one of my all-time favorite shows.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But it's yeah. And then it's like, it's 3 a.m. and I have to get up in the morning.
Yeah, no, and that's the problem is that before you even realize it, it is 3 a.m. And that's why one thing I've started doing is making sure that I like turn off or dim the lights.
Yeah.
If I'm in the living room watching it, I'll turn the lights at least way down. So that way I'm naturally getting tired. Whereas if I leave them on, I won't notice what time it is.
Yeah. Man, that's real. Yeah, that's very real. And it is very much so that it's almost like you're following the productivity.
Yeah.
Or whatever feeling you're getting from like research or whatever it is. You don't want to end that. So you'd rather just keep going. And for me, I don't know how it is for you, but like I actually get amped. Like I get adrenaline rushes when I'm like really into something.
If it's a really good show, for sure.
If it's a really good show, or like for me, it was like the latest Taylor Swift album. Like that was like the adrenaline is so high that like there's no way I could sleep even if I wanted to.
Yeah. No, I get that too.
End of Mr. Robot, when that last episode aired, couldn't sleep.
Yep.
I was just like heightened and just scrolling Reddit.
Yep.
Just scrolling Reddit and reading other people's thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So I feel that hard.
Yeah, 100%. And I did that with Better Call Saul, like because the ending was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. So I've also tried to start like shows like that where I'm kind of following it as they're airing, and they're airing once a week. I'll try to carve out some time like during the day to watch it.
Yeah.
So that way I have time to kind of digest it and get to bed at a reasonable time that night.
You can prepare. You can schedule the the hyperfixation.
Yeah. So
Was the pandemic just amazing for you?
yeah. Oh, I loved it. It was great early on. Like the first wave was
Amazing, right?
it was because I was really stressed and under a lot of pressure at work and stuff. And then that happened. Everything slowed down. And all of a sudden I was just like, oh, all right,
And you had time.
I'm going to enjoy this.
You had time to like enjoy stuff,
Yeah.
hobbies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other, I mean, obviously TV and stuff like that. Any other hobbies outside of comedy that you do? Comedy's a big one. So you don't have to have another hobby.
Yeah, no, comedy is a big one. I think like lately that's been a big part of it. I bike a lot, at least when the weather permits. But no, comedy is the big one.
It's a time suck.
And I've been trying to take a really really measured and analytical approach to it to focus on one thing at a time to get better at.
Interesting.
Because like I don't want to. Otherwise, if you're just like, oh, I just want to get better at comedy, there's so many different facets of that. Like, do you want to get better at writing? Do you want to get better at performing? Like,
you're so
do you want to get better
right.
at act outs? Do you want to get better? Like whatever.
Yeah. What do you mean? What do people mean when they say I'm just trying to get better? Yeah.
Yeah. So like I try to have a small realistic goal for every show. Like I want to hold the mic a certain way. I want to be more comfortable on stage, more present. I want to take time to kind of take a sip of my drink and just come off as a lot. I want to address one thing in the room. There's,
one goal per set.
One goal per set. Yeah.
Fucking, that's such a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Don't try to do everything perfect at once.
No,
because you'll probably fail.
Yeah, exactly. And then not only will you fail, you get really burnt out.
Yeah.
And you'll get really hard on yourself when you realize that just how much of a beast it is.
Yeah.
Because writing jokes is the easy part.
Really? I envy that. I don't find that to be the case at all.
Well,
for me it's the hardest part, but everyone's different.
Yeah, no, what I mean by that is like you can go to a coffee shop and you can decide to focus on writing.
Yeah.
And it's just you and your phone or a pen and paper, whatever it is.
Words on the screen, yeah.
Whereas, and then you can go up on stage somewhere and you can tell your jokes.
Yes.
But I want to be able to perform the jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
And add more of a performance aspect to it. And good stand-up is really kind of the marriage of the two.
The marriage of the two, exactly.
And so that's where I'm trying to get to that point, and I'm not there yet. I know it takes a long time to get there, but that is what I'm focusing on.
Yeah, it's when those two things are in unison. Yeah, that it's magical. But man, the writing thing, I hate writing. I would pay someone to write jokes for me. I fucking hate the writing side of things so much. I'm very vocal about that. But
it can be tough.
It can be, especially and I don't know, John, how long have you been in stand-up again?
It just passed a year.
A year.
In November, yeah.
I find after the year point, when you start to run out of material and you're like spinning wheels, that's when it gets frustrating, I find.
Yeah. But I felt that way for a long time. Like over the summer, I think I overbooked myself.
Yeah, you do a lot of shows.
Yeah.
You're on a lot of posters.
Yeah. So like there was a while there where I was doing like 2 or 3 a week kind of at a minimum. Yeah. And that and then I ended up, I was just like, I'm still telling jokes that I wrote very early on. I know they're not good jokes. I want to get better. So yeah, I've stopped that. Now I try to just go up maybe once or twice a week.
Much better.
And write in the meantime. And then that way I have better, my writing has gotten a lot better over the last couple of months because of taking that different kind of approach to it.
Yeah. And it almost, it makes you, what am I trying to say? Like doing only 1 or 2 shows a week, it's a motivator to write and keep writing. Like because you only have so much time. It's not like you're just going up there all the time doing the same old stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And especially being so new, I was really leaning on stuff that I wrote like a month or 2 in, which was garbage. And I knew it was, but I didn't have time to write anything better. Mm-hmm. And so I chose on those shows to focus more on just trying to get better, like on stage.
Yeah. Quality over quantity.
Yeah. So
I really do think 2 a week is a good rule, because the weeks that I've done 3, it's exhausting by the end of it.
Yeah.
I did a run of 4 shows a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, I feel dead. I'm dead.
Yeah. No, there's 1 week over the summer I did 5 nights in a row, and I was just like, this is too much. It's too much.
Oof. And I mean, I think it's different if you're not working, but if you have a full-time job, oh my God.
Yeah. No,
it is truly too much.
Yeah. It's tough to spend all day sitting at my computer doing whatever, taking meetings and working and then going to a show at night it's a lot.
Are you good at sticking to the quota though? Like, are you good at going, I'm at 2 a week, I'm capped, and turning down shows? Or
No.
Yeah.
No.
I know, right? It's really hard to say no to shows.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Generally my rule is like I don't say no.
Yeah.
Like if somebody offers me a show, I'll take it because that's
I know.
a super good feeling. But
Right?
I've stopped reaching out so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to say no. It can be exhausting. Sometimes I've had to, because I've been like, I'm booked all these nights and I need a night for editing, or I need a podcast night.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like leaning on the podcast for that. Like, just to be like, I need some nights that aren't on stage, because I can't do editing and stand up and work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like most times, well, I mean, most shows are hopefully over by 10, but I'm not usually home till 10:30, 11.
No, and
That's too late.
usually like if a show's over by 10, then there's going to be, even if you try to get out of there right away, there's
Never
going to be a
happens.
few minutes at least of
Chit-chat.
hanging around and chit-chatting. Yeah.
That's a whole
Yeah.
other thing. The post show hangout, how long? It's always longer than you think.
Yeah. No, 100%.
The post show hangouts.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So work on one thing per set. That's such a good way to see it. What's like your overarching thing that you're working on right now? Like what's a big comedy goal that you have, other than holding the mic, like the little things?
I try not to really set big goals.
Yay!
Yeah.
Good.
Because no, this is something that I'm doing for fun.
Yeah.
Like I don't really have any long term. I'm way too new to be even thinking like that. Like
Yeah.
It'd be ridiculous for a person not even a year in to be like, oh, in 5 years I'm going to have a Netflix bet. Like that's insane.
Josh has gained the respect of every comic listening currently. Every comic listening is going, thank God.
Yeah, no, like that's insane. So I'm just trying to get better. I just want to.
Yeah.
I just want to write good jokes, and I want to be able to perform them in an entertaining way.
Look at that. A realistic goal. Let's ruin it all by going to the next segment.
Sounds good.
Unpopular opinion. Don't hate me for this, but it's time for an unpopular opinion. Do you have an unpopular opinion?
Oh, I have so many. John and I were talking about this, and we were like, you know what? A few of these I should probably not do.
But we're at the end.
Yeah.
There's a reason this is at the end.
Yeah.
But let's see where it goes. So give me one.
All right. So I'm going to give you the one that I decided I can
Give me the
articulate properly without,
The appetizer.
Yeah.
Unpopular
So
opinion.
I think no one has done more to harm the progress of climate change than Al Gore. Because prior to him and an Inconvenient Truth, it was a bipartisan issue. Republicans, conservatives, liberals, Democrats, everybody was on board with just the idea that, hey, we should protect the environment. The Environmental Protection Agency in the U.S. was started by Nixon, Republican. The national parks in Canada and the U.S. both were started by conservative and Republican governments. It was a bipartisan issue. Mm-hmm. And then Al Gore comes along after losing the most contentious U.S. election in living memory, and makes outrageous claims like Florida's not going to exist by 2013.
Right. Oh, was he the one who made that claim?
Yeah.
Okay.
The movie An Inconvenient Truth got sued by the people who made the movie The Day After Tomorrow for using footage from that. So it gave all of this fodder to people saying he's politicizing it and none of it is true. So they turned it into a bit of like a left versus right thing. Before that, it was never a left versus right thing.
Oh my God, that's such a good point.
Yeah, and it's always kind of bugged me because it shouldn't be political.
No,
Really
it's
shouldn't
a world
be.
issue, not a.
Yeah, and any jobs that are lost in coal mines or oil fields will be made up for on green tech jobs. So it shouldn't be an economy issue. It shouldn't be anything. It should just be let's make sensible choices.
Let's try to save this fucking planet.
Yeah.
I don't even. Did you see the movie? I haven't even seen it.
I saw it like when it first came out, and like everyone, I was like, oh wow, this is eye opening. And then you're just like, well, wait a minute. Florida's going to be underwater by 2013. The movie came out in like what 2005 or 6 or something. It's like that's great. He said Mount Kilimanjaro will have no snow on it. It still has snow on it. Like he made a lot of really bold claims that have even been challenged by the scientists that he cited as yeah.
It's very fear mongering.
Yeah, exactly. And it politicized an issue which, I mean, I don't think he set out to politicize it, but that was the reality of what happened.
That's what ended up happening.
And I think those sorts of kind of outrageous claims didn't help any.
Yeah. That's such a good point. That it's become such a fucking. I mean, everything's political these days, I feel.
Yeah, and it all kind of started like
Which
around
sucks.
that era of like the mid 2000s was like the start of the Tea Party in the U.S., which led to kind of Trumpism and all of that stuff. So I think Al Gore kind of fucked the progress for climate change for a long, long time.
God damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't need any other proof other than the fact that I was outside in a tank top last night. And it is
20 degrees in November is insane.
I don't know why people aren't more concerned about how warm it is
Yeah, I mean, I think
right now.
well, a lot of people like cite climate anxiety as kind of one of the biggest political issues right now. But it's also one of those things that you can pick up all the garbage you want. You can take the bus as much as you want. It's those small changes don't really matter on a personal level.
No.
Like every little bit helps, of course, but what we need is government action at all levels of government from all countries, or at least most of them.
Yeah. Amen. Ding that bell.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Do you have another unpopular opinion?
Not one I'm comfortable saying on the air.
Oh, no.
That was the one I prepared, so that's what I'm sticking with.
I want to bring up the safe comedy thing.
Well, no, we can. So, I think and actually I was talking with Albert about this the other day as well. And he actually raised a good point that I hadn't really thought of, which is there's a lot of comedians in Halifax are fairly safe. They don't do a whole lot of like edgy material. And Albert raised a really good point that I hadn't considered, which is that who in the city would start doing that, and which of them would be doing it just for the sake of being able to say, say certain words or whatever, which is a good point that, you need.
It has to be authentic and natural.
Yeah, it has to be authentic and natural, and it has to be more funny than it is offensive.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of people that would just say offensive shit just for the sake of saying something offensive, as opposed to for the reason of like making a good joke.
Yeah. And that's you and I were talking before the podcast about like jokes we're working on with subject matter that's a bit iffy.
Yeah.
And how like you're still working on a joke. You don't think it's ready for stage yet. Same for me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get confident about a joke. I don't think it's ready for stage yet. I do not want to go in fearful in any way but I want to be confident enough in what I'm saying that should someone stand up and go, meh.
Well, and that's the thing is like at that Yuck Yucks show in Bedford last week, somebody got up and stormed the stage, and that was over a daylight savings joke.
Daylight savings time
if
joke.
daylight savings is that touchy of a subject matter, there's a lot touchier subject matter that
Let's tell the listeners Sparks Notes version. Essentially, a comic had a joke about daylight savings. Another comic went up, and during that comic set, someone came up to the stage and wanted to do a teachable moment. Teachable moment about what was offensive about this other comic's joke about daylight savings time. And then, if this is not a perfect picture of where we're at with society right now. And then I guess a chair got thrown at that person.
Yeah.
The person who was doing the teachable moment thing.
Which is kind of funny because it's like, yeah, sit down and shut up. This isn't the time for a teachable moment.
But then the other side is also very aggressive
but
too.
Throwing a chair isn't the right way to handle that.
Exactly.
Like the whole thing was just insane. And the fact that it's over a daylight savings joke is bonkers. Like
bonkers.
If you're doing a joke about whatever, a racial joke or mental health joke or whatever, any of these kind of touchy subjects, it's very, you're not wrong to be a little bit nervous about bringing that stuff to stage in that sort of environment.
Because you have to, if it is a touchy subject, you need to prepare for potential backlash.
Yeah.
But then again, it's crazy to assume what people are going to get upset about. One would not assume someone would get upset about daylight savings time.
No, exactly. Like that's totally insane. That's completely insane.
Yeah. I do think there needs to be maybe more acknowledgement from hosts at the start of comedy shows. This is a comedy show. It seems stupid to say that. It's like, yeah, no shit, it's a comedy show.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is about people these days thinking they could go to, if you're that easily offended.
Yeah.
Thinking you could sit in an audience at a stand-up comedy
wrestle
show.
the mic out of the hands of the comedian. That's
so fucking disrespectful. Secondly,
the level of entitlement is just next level stuff.
It's an art that's not at all respected.
Yeah.
In the way that it should be.
No, it's like, oh, anybody can get up there and say shit into a microphone, but that's not what it is. And the people that think that have no idea what actually goes into it, because there is a lot of writing, a lot of preparation, a lot of editing.
Yeah.
That goes into all of it. And that's not even to mention like the practice that it takes to be able to perform a joke like that.
Yeah. And the vulnerability. You're alone on stage.
100%. Yeah.
And I know that this has happened with bands before too. People getting up and attacking or whatever, or like rushing the stage.
Yeah.
It's like they at least have each other. Stand-up comedians is just one person.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a clip Mark Norman posted where like he got into a little bit of an altercation with an audience member. Just fucking insane.
Yeah. And he handled it very, very well. He got the audience on his side. She didn't attack him or anything, but she was yelling shit and completely interrupted the show.
Yeah. And also the claims were just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he made a joke about, I think, a sex worker, and she was like, "You're supporting human trafficking." And like, "No, I'm telling a joke."
Yeah. You're supporting prostitution, and that's sex trafficking.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it is just his relentless, like, you're a cunt. Like, just calling her. And I'm like, this is what it is, man.
Yeah.
And it is what she is. Let's fucking say it.
Yeah.
She's a goddamn cunt for doing that.
Yep. He also, I don't think he called her just a cunt, but
more than that.
More than that. And
which I'm surprised people didn't get more mad at him for.
Me too.
I was kind of shocked that he didn't get criticism for posting that clip.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and that's the sort of thing that kind of forms the basis of my thought there that, yeah, there's a lot of safe comedy in Halifax. I can't think of anybody here that would be able to post a clip like that using that language. Two kind of big no-go words in the same clip and not have people be like, whoa, that was too far.
I think that there are comics here that could. I do.
Probably, yeah.
I do.
100%.
Would they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I think what happens is like you'll see like comics as true colors when you're really off stage and riffing with comics or talking with comics. Like that's when we all get very honest and we, not all of us take those opinions to the stage, but it's when the offstage persona and the onstage persona kind of meet each other that I think that type of material could be done in a way that's not shock for shock.
Yeah, and I think...
But that's hard to get. And that's why I love podcasts.
Yeah.
Because podcasts kind of bridge that gap with comedians.
Yeah, absolutely. And
off stage and on stage. This is kind of in the middle right now.
Mark Norman's also top of the game. Like, very professional, been doing it more than 10, 14 years or something like that at least. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't wrong.
No.
And so I think that's kind of what gave him the leeway to be able to use some of that language, was that, yeah, he wasn't wrong. This woman interrupted in a really unreasonable way.
Yeah.
And he dealt with her in also fairly reasonable way given the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an insane clip. It's just,
Yeah.
and then there was the other one where someone threw a beer bottle at a female comedian.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Like
And then she picked it up and drank it.
the balls.
It's like that's
I would cry.
Yeah, that's owning the moment for sure. That was super cool. I did feel a little bit. It's like, you know what, the type of person that was yelling about that stuff might not be the person you want to be sharing a drink with.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you
You
wanna
made a
know what?
point, but now you have herpes.
I totally know in her head what went through her head there.
Yeah.
'Cause she went, this is probably not a good idea, but this is going to go viral.
Well,
and I'm going to make it even better by
I don't
owning
even-
this moment.
Yeah, and like even if she didn't really have that thought about going viral, it was just about owning the stage and bringing the show back.
bringing the show back.
Because how do you do that? Well, that person just threw a beer bottle at you, a beer can. You pick it up and you drink it, and then you completely show that you have taken control of the situation, and it wins the audience back, and it kind of releases that tension. Yeah,
And tension.
yeah.
And it just goes to show that I guess it just truly goes to show that you need to prepare for everything if you're stepping into that arena.
And apparently that means assault these days.
Apparently that means physical and people talking back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Will Smith,
Yeah.
normalizing that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just insane. It's a weird time. Weird time. Stop being so sensitive, everybody.
Yeah, chill the fuck out.
Chill the fuck out.
Yeah, everybody.
Everyone. Name names, Josh.
No, no, I just think people need to chill the fuck out.
But I mean, I would agree that I think, and I was also because Scott and I were talking about this too, the idea of safe comedy and stuff, and I made the point that not everyone's style is that. Some people just aren't. Some people are safe people on and off stage, and that's fine too.
And that's exactly. It needs
That's
to
fine
be
too.
authentic and sincere. Otherwise, you're in that situation where this person is just saying offensive things for the sake of it.
Shock for shock.
And it's just shock value. Shock jock radio DJ sort of a thing, and that's a very different
and
situation.
you also run the risk if you do something shocking or edgy. You are gonna face that criticism of he's just doing it to say it.
Yeah, and that's
It's
why.
like, how do you prepare for that? Like, do you run bits by people before you do them?
Well, there's that. I think if
know.
you run, so yeah, running it by people that are a part of any community that a joke might be about is an important one.
So, do you think that's okay to do? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
think?
there's a really funny comedian out of Calgary that posts clips on Reddit and Instagram a lot. He has a series of jokes about gender identity and sexuality, and I hesitate to call them trans jokes because they're jokes that mention trans people,
Right.
but they're not jokes about being
The
trans.
joke is not on.
And that's a very important distinction.
yes. Yeah.
And so I think that's a distinction that most comedy audiences would understand, but some people just hear
They hear the
those
word
words.
and they go, "I'm
Yeah.
offended now."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they instantly get their guard up, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and I feel like those are the sort of jokes that you run by people in that community that
How
you
do
know.
you do that? Is that an awkward thing to do?
Well, no, I don't know.
Is there
Like,
an etiquette to that? I wonder. Like, hey, I have this joke and it's about someone like you.
I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah?
I have a joke, like I mentioned earlier on the podcast, about telling the kids that I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I ran it by a couple of Jewish people that I know, to say like, is this in any way offensive? Because I could feel rooms tightening up when I say that. And one thing that the feedback was that I got back was the only people that would be offended by this are probably 20-something white people who are offended on my behalf. And it was a good point. He said, no, there's nothing wrong with this joke at all. And so that's the sort of thing that was like, all right, well then in that case, maybe change some wording to not, to avoid that kind of the room tightening up.
Right.
But the joke itself, there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay. So running jokes by people is good. Be prepared. Just be authentic. I think that's the most important thing is the authentic piece.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I think audiences are pretty smart. They can pick up on if you're saying shit just to say that thing, or if you're saying it because it's an actual funny joke versus just something that's offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone listen when comedians are on stage. Don't just hear a word and make an assumption.
There's
Fucking listen.
Yeah, exactly. There's another kind of thing that I've been toying around with, this idea that it might be good to normalize shows that are specifically meant to be offensive.
Dark shows.
Dark shows. Like,
yes, let's normalize it.
there's a show. So I follow a community group on Facebook for comedy shows in Amsterdam, and because I go there a lot for work. And there's a comedy show that happens probably once a month, I'd say. That's called Trigger Warning, and it's specifically to come and tell darker jokes or more stuff on the kind of the edgy spectrum that you might not get away with in other places.
It.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
A cool thing Whitney Cummings is doing. I don't know if you heard about this. She's working with OnlyFans now to put out roasts with other comics, filmed, produced roasts that are specifically like the old school offensive, go for the joke, go for it, go there. Subject's too touchy, still go there.
And that's one of my favorite thing about the roast battles that we do here is being able to tell those jokes, because everyone gets what's happening. Everyone gets that we're all in on the jokes.
We're all in on it.
Yeah.
But she's doing like she's making it, putting it behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Because people aren't, I don't know. Yeah, if you're going the extra step to pay for it online through OnlyFans, like you got to be down for that, what they're doing. So.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be okay with it.
I think we should do a dark show. I'd bring back suicide stuff for that.
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely.
I know other comics would too, because there's certainly comics here that toe that line. They approach that line. It's just not, they don't quite get over it. And if there was a space that was like, here is a dank bar.
Yep.
It's late at night. It's branded as
we don't have to do it at Oasis.
No. Actually, when I said dank bar, you know what I thought of was literally Yuck Yucks.
Also a dank bar.
Because you literally go underground. And I feel like...
Also true for Oasis, though.
A lot of comedy should be done underground. Yeah. It certainly does not belong in daylight, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's... that's what summer shows are tough.
Ooh, are they ever?
Yeah, because you're starting when it's still bright as hell out, and the peak of the summer, if a show's over at 9:30, it's only just starting to get dark.
Right?
Yeah.
But summer's also kind of the fucking best too at the same time.
Yeah.
It's the worst for audiences.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
But I think it is a fun time to do shows because you have that post-show hangout, talking on the street. Ugh.
Yeah.
Winter's coming soon. It's gonna be fucking freezing. It's gonna suck.
Yeah, I'm not a big winter guy. This 20-degree weather in November has been fantastic.
Yeah.
It
has
has
gonna
me
shock soon.
It has me rooting for the oil companies. So keep going.
Keep going. Well, Josh, I think that's about it. That's
all
our
right.
time. That's
well, thank you so much for having me.
That's our time. Unless there's anything else you want to pop off about.
No.
I don't think we've offended anyone.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think anyone's going to come for you.
Sweet.
And if they do, come for me, everyone.
Yeah,
I'm
there
the
you
one
go.
who's fucking publishing this shit.
Yeah, take the mic out of Sarah's hands.
And I'll gladly publish it.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes,
real quick?
Josh?
Great points made all
Are
the way
done?
around.
Fuck. God damn it.
That is funny. Can I just change my pie request?
Yeah.
Can I have a peach pie? You ever make a peach
Oh,
pie?
I've never made a peach pie. I would love to. I'd love to go down that rabbit hole.
Nice.
Peach pie.
Yeah.
I can't picture it. Is there crust on top of it?
I don't know.
We'll find out together. Do you want to come
It
over
has
for this
peaches, peaches inside. I don't
Yeah.
know what's on the top of it.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I guess.
Either way.
Yeah.
Way.
Either
pie?
way.
Yeah. You'd have a crust on that.
I think I like a crust on top.
Yeah.
Unless it's like coconut cream or...
Or like a pecan pie or something. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't put a crust on that.
No, you can't. No, the pecans are the crust.
Yeah, exactly.
I fucking love that. So Josh is taking pie orders. I'll leave a link below
Yeah, do
to
that.
a Google form where you can suggest. Oh my god. Okay, so 2 people are here that are going to be on the show. I need to tell everyone about the live show.
Right.
December 3rd, Saturday, Intoxicated live show, bringing back the chaos of what was the first live show and doing it all again at Darkside Comedy Club. Josh, you're going to be there.
Yep.
John, you're going to be there too. Debating.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Part of live debates.
Are we debating each other? Do you know that yet?
Can you imagine? The topic is just John Pickett, and I put John against himself.
I'll take the argue against.
You're for?
Yeah.
That would be so funny.
That would actually be hilarious. I can make a good argument for John.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea. Sprinkle in just people's names. It'd be so funny. But the show is going to be, it's going to be live debates. It's going to be stand-up sets. I'm doing a little mini, tiny, condensed speed intoxicated interview with Adam Myatt.
Nice.
This is going to be, I'm going to be very stressed and probably not going to sleep for a while, but it's going to be fun.
Oh, it'll be a blast. I'm really excited for it.
Show mode Sarah is a bit of a beast. That's
Nice.
what I'll say.
Beast mode.
I get very, like you, obsessive about details and but I want it to be a good fucking show. So everyone, you got to come out. Actually, when this airs, this is going to air. When is this going to air? This Friday coming. So you have one day to get early bird tickets for $15
Get on it.
without Eventbrite fees
Yep.
for this time only.
Nice.
And then it goes up in price because I get scared people won't come to my shows. And it's very stressful.
Yeah. It's a
It's
big
stressful
risk.
to move tickets, everybody.
Yep.
So,
So
if
buy
you're-
them.
So buy them. Get them now.
Yeah.
Get them while they're hot. But thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to plug? Social media? Can people follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me.
yeah.
Mainly on Instagram, I guess, at hypfixating, which is a software joke.
I was wondering
Yeah.
where you got your username from.
Yeah, it's a software joke.
Is that like just a technical term that I wouldn't know?
No, well, like an array is just like a collection of things.
Oh yes, okay.
And so the way it's in programming, you have like an array of a string, which is just like text or whatever.
Okay.
And so it's an array of two hips. So it's kind of like hip hip hooray, but it's hip hip array.
That's so geeky. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's
That's so geeky. I love it. That's so funny.
Yeah.
I love when people have unique usernames.
yeah. Thank you.
It's
I like it.
it's always fun. But thank you so much for this. This was a blast.
Yeah.
And thank you, John and Mikhayla, for joining us. Do you have any last minute questions for Josh?
Do you?
No, I'm good.
I would laugh if Mikhayla was like, "Where
I'm
do you
good.
get the nerve?"
Yeah. Oh, I'll hear all about it later.
I would also take a pie, but
Oh, okay. What kind of pie do you want?
I'm not a huge pie fan.
Then why am I making you a pie?
I don't know.
Why am I making you a whole pie? You won't even eat it.
I like pumpkin pie. I know the room.
I don't like
The
pumpkin,
pumpkin pie people are over there.
I'll make
We're
you.
over here.
I'll make you a pecan pie.
Sure.
Oh, she didn't like
you-
that. Are you a cake person instead of pie?
Yeah.
No,
I
I'll,
think, I
I'll
don't
make you a
know.
pumpkin pie.
I think pie's better.
Yeah.
And when I give it to you, I will explain exactly what it is and why it's good, what went into it,
And why you do it better than women.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Why you will not be able to make a pie as good as this? It's because of your small, dainty
It's
hands.
just not in your DNA.
Yeah.
Even though that's where we belong in the kitchen. Thanks so much, Josh. This was so fun. You can ding the bell. We're done,
Nice.
bitches. We're done. Thank you for listening to the Intoxicated Podcast. If you enjoyed this week's episode, make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast app you use and leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. You can also give us a follow on Facebook and Instagram at Intoxicated Podcast and check out our video episodes on the Intoxicated YouTube channel. Until next week, feel hard and talk hard. Intoxicated Podcast is hosted and produced by Sarah McClellan, co-produced by Sarah Nicole, and brought to you by the messiness of life.